Taboo Talk with Ray and Steve podcast takes a close-up look at controversial subject matter and hot-button topics, adding humor, cynicism, and a dose of reality to the stuff we're not supposed to talk about anymore. Politics, religion, sex, gender identity, violence, corruption. Nothing is left unturned in this lighthearted approach to information dissemination. The world is experiencing a pandemic of cowardice. 80% of people do not believe the craziness they've been coerced to agree with. Grab a friend, grab a beverage, and dive in with us as we take on the narrative and blast social stigmas with truth. Here are your hosts, Patriots Ray Amanat and Steve Reed.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, America. To everyone out there in Facebook land, YouTube land, social media land, welcome to Taboo Talk with Ray and Steve. I am Ray Amanat, your host, based out of Port Richey, Florida, and my partner in crime, Mr. Steve Reed, my co-host, somewhere in northern Texas. Welcome, Steve.
Greetings, my friend. And I have to apologize if I seem distracted. It's because my pesky wife has been annoying me. So, are you online? Are you broadcasting? So,
oh, was that your wife?
That was my wife. So, anyway. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Just did a fantastic seminar yesterday for a Dennis Realty. We had about 20, 25 realtors that we were working with, and
cool.
We're doing another group in another part of Florida tomorrow afternoon. So
very cool.
Just excited to empower people and give them the knowledge of safety.
And Ray, I got to commend you. And I'm not going to mention a name, but you know who I'm talking about. Our friend that's up in St. Louis that used to host a networking group. I'm proud of you that you pronounce that industry and that type of person properly. That it's a realtor group, not realtor group. So you know who I'm talking about, but we'll leave his name incognito. Yeah. So, Ray, I have been keeping one eye on the news and one eye on business and one eye on my wife and one eye on the weather and so forth.
It's amazing both of us don't have whiplash.
Oh, tell me. Ray, I'm going to go through just a few highlight things that are going on. For those of you that don't realize, the whole cocaine in the White House thing is a distraction.
And from what I understand, they flushed all the evidence down the toilet. It's gone.
So the case, it was closed before it got started. And I'm not going to put the blame on the Secret Service, but shame on you, leadership of the Secret Service, for not doing your job and protecting the Constitution. Your job is not to protect the president, it's to protect the Constitution. And so anyway, but it was my understanding, I'm hearing rumblings that it was intentionally planted there to cause a problem for Joey, Mr. Ice Cream himself. So that's number one. Number two, my understanding, I have not had a chance to look at it. I've been busy, but my understanding is that Donald J. Trump is about to be or has been indicted again. For the January 6th stuff, of which the U.S. Senate exonerated him 2 years ago. So what in the world is going on with Jack Smith, or whatever his name is? He's just trying to incite riots. Okay, so they think that the January 6th thing was incitement of riot. They ain't seen nothing yet. They keep.
Have they not looked at any of Trump's events and the thousands upon thousands of people that go to his events?
And the number of times that Donald Trump said, folks, go home peaceably, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. There was no inciting from Trump at all. So anyway, here's another fun one for you. The IRS whistleblowers, my understanding is they're going through some interviews right now, but the IRS whistleblowers were kicked off of the Hunter Biden case because the Justice Department did not want, exactly, they did not want this information revealed. Well, guess what? It's being revealed. And anyway, that's it. The truth is going to come out. So,
yeah, it will come out with all the hearings that they're having, and you have some top-notch people like Jim Jordan. They're going to be asking a lot of questions and hopefully getting some answers out of it. And I would like to see people go to jail. I would like to see people impeached. I would like to see, I mean, our country is slowly turning into a third world country.
Nicaragua.
Yeah, and thank you, George Soros. You're actually accomplishing your biggest goal, and that was to destroy America.
Yeah. And that's
but
exactly
people like you and I are gonna stand in your way. We created this show to wake up Americans to get together and preach and teach to everyone else that's kind of not really with it, and get you guys to understand the facts of what's really going on and hopefully make better choices in electing our future officials to office.
Yep. And Ray, with that said, our disclaimer, this is an an opinion-based program. We do our research, so it is a fact-based program, and we throw our opinions in from time to time. But I firmly believe that the Biden Justice Department is trying to create a civil war. They're doing everything they possibly can to tear the country apart in every way they possibly can. And it's patriots like Ray and Steve that are not going to allow that to happen. We're just going to continue.
We're just trying to ring the bell. We're trying to wake people up. Be the new historians that are saying the British are coming. The British are coming. Except with this, it's the communists are here. The communists are here. Yes. We got to do something about it.
And Ray, we can call them communists, we can call them socialists, we can call them progressives, we can call them Marxists, we can call them Democrats. That is redundant. They are all the same. So, folks, reach out to us. We would love to hear your opinions. We are on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Send us an email, tabbytalkwithrayandsteve@gmail.com. We'd love to have your insights, your input on everything that we are talking about today and every Wednesday afternoon, 1:30 Central Time.
You can comment right now on Facebook
Absolutely.
Live, and we will see your comments and bring them up to our audience, viewing and listening audience. So your opinion matters just as much as ours.
Yep. So, Ray, I had a chance to watch bits and pieces of the Blaze conference that went on last week and hosted by Glenn Beck and his organization. And Glenn Beck was very smart because he brought Tucker Carlson, the unemployed or whatever it is, Fox News commentator, and Tucker was interviewing people. And there was some really eye-opener interviews with people at this event.
And these are all people that are running for the Republican ticket for President of the United States for 2024.
Yeah, and there were two people that knocked themselves out of the race based on some of Tucker's questions and their answers. And I don't want to talk about them right now. Let's talk, though, first about Vivek Ramaswamy. I think I pronounced that correctly.
Ramaswamy.
Yes. All right.
He's my brown brother.
Your brown brother. Okay, from another brother.
I'm not Indian, but hey, we both have dark skin, so hey, I consider him my brown brother.
So,
But
tell us about him.
So, just looking at his bio via Wikipedia, you guys can all do your own research. He was born in Cincinnati. His parents were immigrants from India. Mine were immigrants from Iran, so that's a little different. He graduated from Harvard College with a bachelor's degree in biology and later earned a JD or Juris Doctor, which is Juris Doctor is a doctor of law. You're looking at the legalities of everything. Doctor of law. That's what it says in my paperwork here.
That's right.
And he got that from Yale School. He grew up going into a Catholic school, so he has a Christian background as far as his schooling is concerned. And he's worth estimated anywhere between $750 to $1 billion from being an entrepreneur in his own business ventures, and is an author of 3 books.
Very cool. Very cool.
And we'll take a deeper dive in Mr. Vivek Ramaswamy with some of the video footage that we have from his interview with Mr. Tucker Carlson. And the reason why we're doing this for our viewers is, and we're going to try to do this with each candidate that is worthy of running for president, that knock themselves out, but we want you guys to look at the candidates, do your own research, do your own homework. You could say I'm Trump all the way. That's great, but still do your homework, do your due diligence to looking at the other candidates. Some of them may become a vice president pick, and you want to make sure that that's the right choice.
Exactly.
Because I'm sure Trump listens to his constituents and is going to make the right decision as far as who he wants to pick. And if it's Vivek, I'm sure we want to know as much as we can in the way he thinks, based on, let me turn this off, based on, I hope Vivek would say, if I were to become president, this is who I would vote for Supreme Court justices. These are the things that I would want. I want to know those names of people, so that tells me what his thinking is. Is he conservative enough for us? Yep. Is he upholding our constitutions? Is he doing right for our country? He's another businessman, just like Donald Trump was.
Yep.
He has no experience as far as politics is concerned. He's just another business guy. What makes him qualified to be president of the United States? And that's what we're going to dive in today, and you guys can put in your 2 cents worth as well.
Well, we're not going to be looking at his business experience. We will be looking at some of his opinions and his thoughts on several different areas. But Ray, before we do that, do you think we should take a real quick commercial break?
I think so, yes.
Well, here we go.
Hi, welcome to Heroes in Action. I'm Ray Amanat, founder and creator of this training system. I originally made it so that everyone can train for free. We have programs for kids, for women, families, and businesses. I'm an author, speaker, and educator on everything that has to do with violence and bullying prevention education. If you'd like more information about who we are and what our programs are, please go to our website at heroesinaction.us or give me a call if you have any questions at 727-314-2534. We hope to see you here to train.
Hey, how can people get in touch with you and maybe help support your mission?
Well, of course, through our website, heroesinaction.us. You can email me at heroesinactionnow.org or ray@heroesinactionnow.org. You can get all that information through our website. Everything that we do, all of our programs are free. We don't get a dime. I haven't had a paycheck from Heroes in Action in the last 3 years. And ever since I said I'm not going to, I'm going to offer everything I do for free to the public. And the money that we bring in goes towards purchasing books, creating printout handouts to give the people to help them navigate their training that they get from us so that they can continue training. The videos that we make for YouTube, those are all put out there for free so that you have access to us and can get the training. If you would like to make a donation, a one-time or recurring donation, to help cover our overhead expenses. We have a training facility here in Port Richey where we do private lessons for free and small group seminars for free, but we have expenses to upkeep and pay rent for that facility on top of all the handouts that we do, all the lectures and seminars that we go to. We need your help. We can't do this, offer it for free without having money coming in to pay for everything. So you can use the QR code that we've got on the screen or just go to our website at heroesinaction.us and click the Donate Now button, and whatever donation you can make to us, it is tax deductible. At the end of the year, we send out letters to everyone based on the amount of donations they give us, so you can give to your accountant for tax purposes as a write-off for yourselves.
Ray, I've got 2 questions for you.
Sure.
How long have you been teaching martial arts, self-defense, boxing, etc.? How long have you been doing this?
So this is over 42 years of training, certifications, and research to go into everything that we provide the people that we train currently in our seminars today.
Okay. All right. Second question is, if you were doing this as a commercial venture, okay, somebody comes into your training facility and they're paying a per visit or a monthly fee, whatever the case is, what would somebody with your experience and skill level, what would they charge?
If it's a private lesson, you're looking at $120 to $150 an hour. If it's group lessons, like if you were to go to a martial arts school and go there for school, group lessons, you're paying anywhere between $125 to $150 a month or more. Okay. And that does not include private lessons. That's just group lessons only.
So, folks, I hope you understand what Ray is doing. Let's just say on the low end, it's $120 an hour for private lessons, and he's doing it for free. So if you choose to come to Ray to get some specialized training for him or from him, be generous and support the organization. So just to give people a little bit of a point of reference. So you're not $20 an hour to teach what you teach. So anyway.
No, you're not paying for that hour.
I just
you're paying for that 42 years of research that I've put into to give you the information that you need that's current and up to date with what's happening in our world in today's society.
All right, Ray, we're going to shift gears and go back to Vivek, and I'm going to show you the first of the 4 clips that I've got coming up.
Have a void in our country. I'm the first millennial ever to run for U.S. president as a Republican. And I see people my age in particular across this country who are not doing well because we're starved for purpose and meaning. The people are looking to be part of something bigger than ourselves. And yet we've lost the things that used to ground us. Faith, patriotism, hard work, family. These things are gone. And so we're lost in the wilderness. And then we latch on to whatever the other side serves up for us. You know, we could wokeism, transgenderism, climatism, whatever it is. These are symptoms, drug addiction, depression, suicide, you name it. These are symptoms of a deeper void of purpose and meaning in our country. But Tucker, I think the good news in that is I think our country's not doing well, but I think that this is also our opportunity as a movement to level up and fill that void, that vacuum, with our own vision. Individual, family, nation, God. When I talk to young people about this, they're more interested in that than they are in race, gender, sexuality, and climate. And so now we got to start running to something as Americans, and if we do, I'm confident that our country will be doing well again. That's where I'm at.
Absolutely. You know, Ray, when I saw that the first time, I'm thinking to myself, he's just repeating what's on people's minds. People want hope. They want to fight for something, not against something. So throughout everything that he's doing, he's not bashing people per se. He's trying to instill hope in people and not give excuses for all of these other nonsensical things. And on the Democrat side, what they have to offer is not Trump.
What they have to offer is finger pointing at everyone else is the problem except for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Democrats we're the solution. We're here to take care of you. We're going to raise your taxes and everything so that we can take care of you.
Well,
but we don't. Share. We're not the cause of any of the problems. Yeah, One of the things that I like about Vivek Ramaswamy is all the other candidates that are Republicans running for office are all trying to do what the Democrats do, and they're trying to tear Donald Trump down.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's come out and said, I actually support everything Donald Trump has done in the past, and I agree with him on everything that he's doing. I'm not here to go against Donald Trump. I'm here for me to say this is my viewpoints, and you can choose whether I'm your guy or he's your guy. Yep. But he's not getting into the nastiness that a lot of the other politicians are.
He's got a powerful message. Let's go to the second clip. We'll look at some of the things he said there as well.
Is it my imagination, or are people who weren't raised in traditional religious households, who haven't spent a lot of time thinking about theology, all of a sudden talking about God a lot? Do you notice that?
I do notice that, actually. And I think this is a good sign because there's an old expression, right? If there's a hole the size of God in your heart and God does not fill it, something else will instead. That's what's happened in the last decade in our country. Something else, some secular religion has filled that void. But it hasn't really satisfied our moral hunger, right? And so that's that effect is fading, and I think people are hungry to turn back to the real thing. The conversation's coming up, but they say it with a kind of prudishness.
Yes.
Right? God is a four-letter word. It's sort of a thing you have to tiptoe around. And I think that right now, family's the same way. The nuclear family makes some people uncomfortable when I say it, but actually this is the best known form of governance to mankind. And so if we start talking more about, hey, that's what we're running to. That's actually what we stand for. Yes, we are one nation. I'm a citizen of this nation, not some nebulous global citizen somewhere else. That it is one nation under God. Yes, it is a nation that is stronger when we ground ourselves in the unit of the family. Then I notice something happens, especially for younger people across the country, Tucker, is they're more open to that message than they thought, but they need someone to serve it up to them. And I think I'm the first non-politician, but I'm also a younger person in this race. I don't have a ton of experience running governments before. But I think in reaching younger people, that's something I feel called to do in this race. And it's why we're traveling college campuses across this country. And I am optimistic about what I see.
Now, I got to correct him on one thing. He is not the first non-politician.
I agree.
Now, there were a lot of things in our history, or a lot of people that ran for office that were not politicians. But today, everybody that is running for the presidency or elected office, for the most part, is a politician.
Now, one of the
And
things that I found on him also is that prior to running for president of the United States in 2020 or 2022, he ran for the Senate seat in Ohio. And did not win, of course, but he's been trying to get into politics as a non-politician.
yeah, and that's refreshing because he's got a similar mindset to Donald Trump, that he's going after this for the people, not for what he can do to line his pockets. So he's trying to get back to our standard roots that we had for 200 years, until probably 50 years ago, the 50s and 60s, when the communists and the socialists and the Democrats and so forth, again, sorry for being redundant, they started really trying to destroy America with the Great Society and welfare and all of that other stuff, taking God out of schools, prayer out of schools, etc., all of those sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ray, I think we need to take another real quick break. So, hold on to your shorts here, buddy.
I wonder what this one is going to be about.
That's a good wondering. So, here we go.
Life isn't always sunshine and roses. Sometimes it's full of roadblocks. The kind that aren't as easy to fix as filling a hole or repairing a car. Personal roadblocks are another thing altogether. Why do I feel stuck? The same things anger me every time. Why am I doing this anyway? Fixing it yourself can be frustrating and confusing. And if more than one person is involved, DIY might mean destroy it yourself. Maybe it's time for another solution. Steve Reed shines a light on your roadblocks and helps you find the best way forward for you. Stephen Reed Ministries, bringing light and hope for a victorious life. To overcome your roadblocks, schedule an appointment with Steve Reed today.
And Ray, I love helping people get past the emotional trauma that they have been dealing with.
What is the number one story, without giving out names or anything, that you can come up with of somebody that you have helped? And how can people get a hold of you so that you can offer your services to them and
they can
shine a light on their lives?
They can email me at info@stephenreedministries.com, and that's STEPHENREED ministries.com. Or you could go to my website, which is www.stephenreedministries.com, and you can actually go to my scheduling calendar. It's across the top. It says schedule an appointment. But I'm going to tell you one real quick story. I had a client several years ago that unfortunately he was going through an ugly divorce. In the process, he lost parenting rights with his daughter. She was about 3 years old at the time. And his wife took their daughter and moved to a different state. And I've been working with him for several months. And then we had gotten him to the point where he was doing reasonably well. A couple of months after we finished, he calls me up and he says, "Steve, I just want to say thank you." I said, "Okay, you're welcome. I enjoyed working with you. I'm glad I was able to help." He says, "No, thank you." I said, "Okay, you're very welcome. I'm glad I was able to help." He says, "No, you don't understand. You walked me off the cliff." He says, "Life wasn't worth living, and I was on the verge of taking my life." Wow. Okay, well, thanks for sharing that. I'm glad you didn't. Well, fast forward a couple of years later, he called me up one day and said, "Hey, I'd love to take you to lunch." I said, "Yeah, sure, no problem." So we went to lunch. One of the few times that I was working with somebody in person, face to face. And we're sitting here. He says, "I need to tell you the rest of the story." I said, "Okay, shoot." And he says, "I told you that you walked me off the cliff." I said, "Yeah, I'm glad I was able to help you out with that." He says, "The rest of the story is I had a 9mm in my mouth, and you walked me off the cliff."
Wow.
And I do not claim to be somebody that can get into crisis management and suicide prevention. That's not my training, but I know how to help.
So I've got that same question for you that you posed to me. How long have you been doing this as far as your education and training and research to get to where you are now?
My undergraduate degree is in psychology. I graduated in 1978, so several decades ago. I started coaching people in the late 80s, early 90s. I started just by understanding and researching personality temperaments. I use DISC as my foundational program, but I've lost count of the number of individual clients, couples, business owners, executives, etc., that I've been working with. And I've done a lot of trauma coaching along the way, helping people with rejection, abandonment, victimization, and abuse, and just helping them primarily get rid of the pain, but also recognize who they truly are and how they can identify themselves with truth instead of the lies that other people have thrown on them.
So you didn't just get something out of a Cracker Jack box and says, "Oh, hey, look, this is what I am now."
Well, I had somebody ask me a while back, she says, "Well, you don't even have a master's degree." So let me tell you something. I have probably enough for 3 PhDs in the stuff that I'm doing, with all of the research and reading and conferences and seminars and so forth that I've been to. So I've got the education, but more so I've got the experience that I can share with people. I love people. My tagline is, I want to bring light and hope so you have a more victorious life. So that's my goal. So, all right, Ray, let's get back to it. Yes, let's get back to it. We've got more videos to come. Let me see if I can get number 3.
Well, since you are a younger person and spend time with them, we saw yesterday that a group of reservists has been called up to Europe, apparently, to prepare for war with Russia. Of people in the age cohort who might plausibly be called up to do that, what's the response?
I think there is no basis for us to send our young men and women, our sons and daughters, people my age or any age, to go defend somebody else's border halfway around the world, when we should be using our own military to secure our own border in this country. And I will not apologize for that. We have to put the interests of this country first. And one of the things that does frustrate me, Tucker, is that this is one issue where I so love many of the other people who are running for this nomination for president. I think most of us, and the entire field I speak for, are in this for the right reasons. We are people who care about our country and want to deliver our country to a better place. But on this issue, nearly our entire field is indistinguishable in practice from where Biden is on this, which is in an undefined, ill-defined way pouring more money into a war that I think is destined to become Vietnam or Iraq all over again. And if you don't learn from the lessons of the past, you're going to be making the same mistakes on an even larger scale going forward. We have to end this war. We can end this war and start prioritizing the interests of actual U.S. citizens here at home.
Ray, when I was listening to it, I'm thinking every single person that is running for office, with the exception of him and Donald Trump, are saying we need to stop the war. Mm-hmm. And Trump, I heard him, probably a month and a half ago, in some interview with some woman, I don't remember who it was. And, well, what would you do? Whose side are you on? He says, I'm not taking a side. He says, I just want to stop the fighting, save lives.
Stop the killing.
Yeah. And so that's the same thing that Vivek is saying. And I liked what he has. I've got some more information on what he would do, what his strategy would be. But we have no business being in Ukraine. And now we're talking about moving some of our soldiers over there. Mm-hmm. And it's just that it's insane that we don't need to be in there. We don't need to be sending them the billions of dollars. In the first place, what we should have done is we should have taken the $85 billion worth of armament and weapons and so forth that we left behind in Afghanistan and just transferred the stuff to Ukraine. But no, Biden is infinite. I'm sorry.
Well, you can't say wisdom.
Exactly. If I
Hold on, I got to do this on that one.
Oh, that was good. Okay. So, thinking about that, I saw a meme the other day that was a picture of the guy that's living in the White House right now, and he was eating an ice cream cone, and the tagline was, "Wouldn't it be nice to be able to eat an ice cream cone without fear of brain freeze?"
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I didn't make it up. I'm just repeating what I heard somebody else say. so
I'm afraid of our country going down the toilet, and he's worried about brain freeze, or whoever made that meme correctly made the meme about brain freeze, because that's what's in front of his mind. God knows what else is in front of his mind.
If anything. So, Ray, just a reminder that people can reach out to us. Send us an email at tabootalkwithRayandSteve@gmail.com. And remember, this is an opinion-based program based on our opinions, which are based in fact.
And your opinions matter also. If you'd like to be a sponsor on our show, I was going to try to get a MyPillow pillow that I have here at my home and just kind of sleep on it. But if you would like to be a sponsor on our show, Mike Lindell, or anyone, just reach out to us. We would love to talk to you and learn more about your business and promote your business with our viewers and our listeners as well.
Nice little win-win opportunity. So, Ray, I've got another video. Let me share this last video, and we'll talk about this one some more as well.
I think there's no such thing as a politically correct war. And so what I ask is, how are we actually going to end this conflict in a way that advances U.S. interests? And the thing that puzzles me, Tucker, is nobody in either party is talking about this right now. The Russia-China alliance is the single greatest threat that the U.S. actually faces today. And we are pushing Russia closer into China's arms by actually continuing to arm Ukraine. So what I've said is that I would negotiate a deal that ends the Ukraine war, frees the current lines of control. Yes, that means giving part of the Donbas region to Russia. I would make a hard commitment that NATO never admits Ukraine to NATO. And those seem like unspeakable words in certainly the Republican donor class. But we get something greater in return, which is that Putin, in that case, would have to exit his military partnership with China and remove nuclear weapons from Kaliningrad, which border Poland, and get the Russian military out of Cuba and Venezuela and the West. And this is a deal that Putin should do because he ends up winning. He gets things that he doesn't have today. But it secures American interests, too. And I do think in a weird way, it does take an outsider to get that job done. Because if you want someone to fix a problem, you don't turn over the keys to somebody who actually broke the thing in the first place. If you want to fix it, maybe have somebody who didn't break it in the first place. And that's part of why I'm in this race as an outsider.
Okay.
So, Ray, there is a great quote from Albert Einstein that fits perfectly with this. You cannot solve the problems that you have using the same thought process you used when you created them. And that's essentially what Vivek just said. So if you created the problem, how are you going to fix the problem? Unless you created the problem yourself so that you look like a hero when you came up with the solution.
Again, he, like Donald Trump, when Trump brokered the peace in the Middle East with all the Arab nations is doing it as a businessman. How can we win on all sides? What can we do to win on all sides? Working with Canada and Mexico, how can we win to where all of us benefit from it? He's looking at it from a business perspective rather than from a powerful nation perspective. Whose cojones are bigger than the others, and it's not about that. It's about how can we do this to benefit our countries and our people and walk away without looking like we're the big loser in the group. He's trying to make it where everyone wins. I don't know if I agree with a lot of what he brought up as far as what Russia's takeaway is, but I think it's in a better direction than where we're at now with the current administration.
Two things. Number one, Vivek is obviously America first in the things that he's talking about. He doesn't want our soldiers to be shipped over there. Okay, and that's number one. Number two, and I have such mixed emotions about this, but when one country invades and takes over another country, there's conflict. Okay, we don't want that to happen, but
there should also be consequences, and that's where other governments from other nations need to step up and not sit back as a bystander and say and do nothing.
But Ray, on the other side of the coin, that is a new phenomenon over the past couple of 100 years. This is all new. I mean, Great Britain was out for centuries conquering other places. Rome was conquering other places. Egypt was conquering other places. The whole Muslim community has been trying to
Persian Empire was conquering other places.
Exactly. And when that happens, the victor gets the spoils. They are the winners. Okay? Now, I don't like what Russia's doing. I think they need to leave Ukraine alone. But Russia's trying to get back what they lost when Ronald Reagan destroyed the Soviet Union. So I kind of understand what Putin's doing. He's trying to get back what he lost. So I totally agree with you. So I've got mixed emotions with this, with the whole thing. So who's right? Who's wrong? I've also heard it said that Joe Biden has a personal vendetta against Putin, and that's why we're there. That Putin embarrassed him in front of a whole group of other government leaders, and Biden is trying to get him back.
But I want to know again, he's sending so much money to Ukraine, of which there is no transparency or oversight as to where that money is going. Is some of that money going to come back in the form of campaign finances to fund the Democratic Party? Who knows? I want to know. I want to know what that money is being used for. Is it being used for actual aid to help the people of Ukraine? Is it used for actual purchase of weapons that they need to fight the Russians? I want to know the IRS wants us to give them all the information that we have down to the penny based on what we make and what we spend and blah, blah, blah. I want to hold our government to those same standards.
And
where's the money going and what are they doing with it?
Let's talk about that more after this break.
Now your DFW events can be listed on the DFW events segment of OBBM Network News. New episodes posted each week are reaching people right here in your own backyard. Get in on this. Now it's affordable to reach thousands of people in new markets, offering exposure to your professional network like never before. Get us your listing by Tuesday at noon, and you'll be included in the following week's release on Monday. Email info@offbeatbusiness.com for our digital media kit and discover a better way to reach DFW. Not hosting events? Your business will benefit from the exposure our events list generates. Take advantage of brand exposure on the ticker or with the logo graphic, video advertisement, even a QR code. Click on our QR code to access our digital media kit now.
And yes, she is talking about the North Dallas area, but OBBM Network has a nationwide exposure. So definitely advertise if you're looking to reach people in Montana or Florida or California or wherever. OBBM is available on all of your major podcast networks, and we're thrilled to be part of that organization. So that's my story. Sticking to it. So, Ray, what you're talking about is you're saying that you want some accountability with the folks in Washington and where they are sending money and how it is going to Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
And here, by the way, is
especially when it's been shown or proven the collusion that Hunter Biden has had with Ukrainian officials, Russian officials, people in China. I want to know more of who he's been talking to, and is our country, is our administration jeopardized by those contacts that Hunter's had?
Ray, the other thing I would go even a step
tie it all together.
I want to know how many in Congress, in the House and the Senate, are getting contributions from people directly affiliated with this. Mm-hmm. And are they propping up the industrial military complex or military industrial complex, whatever you call it? Are they getting money from the Raytheons and the Grummans and Lockheeds and so forth? All of those people, are they getting kickbacks? Are they getting political campaign money that is just simply going to sell more tanks and more jets and more bullets and so forth?
Right.
So there's a lot of that stuff that's going on. We just don't know what it is. That's why we need transparency and campaign.
We're asking the government to investigate. Oh, the government. It's like, Steve, why don't you, tell me about all of your finances and everything? And you're like, well, there's nothing to see here. This is all I've done or invested or whatever. The government investigating itself is a joke. We need to have a separate entity that has nothing to do with the government look into all the government finances. Look into every congressman, every senator, every justice of the peace as far as that is concerned, and look at where they get their money from, who gave it to them, for what purpose. Look at, hey, did they go on a vacation somewhere? Do they have a vacation home? How did they come up with the money for that? How did they go from being somebody that had next to nothing when they first got into office into becoming multimillionaires when they're nearing retirement or near the end of their time in office?
No.
There's more millionaires as politicians than there are in almost any other industry I can think of.
No, you're no. I whatever you do not throw Bernie Sanders into that mix of things, or the fake Indian.
I think he has 2 or 3 houses, doesn't he?
He's got 3. Yeah, he's a multimillionaire on a congressional salary of $150,000 a year, $170,000 a year, and of course you cannot throw the Bidens into that mix. Even though he was in the Senate for 40 years and then vice president, and the highest salary ever made was less than $200,000 a year. Now he's making $400,000 as president, and he's got 3 mansions, and he's a multimillionaire. Nobody knows how much money he really has because of all of the shell companies that he has control of. But we cannot
over
throw
20.
him into that. We can't throw him into that mix. Okay, that's just that would not be fair without full disclosure. So, right, you can read between the lines. Dumb. And you know what? I heard, and I don't remember the number, but Donald Trump actually lost $1 billion after he took over as the president 6 years ago. Lost $1 billion. Not earned
the money
more.
that he was supposed to get as a salary, he donated to charity. He didn't take a dime as president.
Yeah. So $1.6 million he donated to worthy causes. So, Ray, we are rapidly approaching the end of another broadcast.
We hope that this little dive into Vivek Ramaswamy gives you a little bit of insight of him as a candidate, and will get you guys to do your due diligence in looking into him and other candidates as well, so we can be informed and make better choices as to picking our future leaders.
And who knows, we may even share some insights into some people that you don't need to waste your time on, that because they have. And anyway, I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to mention Mike Pence or Asa Hutchinson. So, but there's some people that have already buried themselves because of things they've said. So,
Right.
Anyway, right? Anything else?
No, I think we got a full show. It's a wrap, and looking forward to our next show, which we've got a little bit of help now. My stand-in, Miss Debbie Schofield, is now going to be elevated to the executive producer of our show, because we need help with some of the content that we're getting. Because you have a job, I have a job, we're both trying to help people, and we can't do all the research and everything on our own. It takes time away. So Debbie Schofield has agreed to help us out and be our executive producer for the show. And so she'll be helping co-host sometimes when I'm not here. We might just let her do the show on her own once. No, I'm kidding.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to see if she would panic or not.
I love it. All right, Ray. Well, folks, remember, like, share, comment, subscribe, etc. All of those fun things. And we sure do enjoy doing this for you. It is for the children. Just remember that. It is for the children, right?
It's for our futures, but
yes. Have a blessed day. See you, buddy.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Taboo Talk with Ray and Steve. If you have suggestions for topics you would like us to discuss, or you would like to become a sponsor, reach out to us today at tabootalkwithrayansteve@gmail.com. In the meantime, check out the other amazing programs on OBBM Network on all your favorite podcast platforms. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. Join us again for another fun and informative opinion-based episode. This is Taboo Talk with Ray and Steve.